Aloha, friends. I want to introduce to you the amazing Lia Dunlap. Colleen might be joining us in a couple of minutes. She's just back on the mainland from St. Thomas and her daughter's wedding. So she's running on island time too. But I met Lia in an amazing coaching network to learn how to be better on Facebook and use a software that's just amazing for connecting with clients and automating your Facebook groups. And it is just full of great people to connect with as you build your business, but also some amazing tools to help you build your business. And when you connect with people like Lia, you wind up with some great ideas. So during our first meeting, I had an inspirational banner above my head, and that was great. And it reminded me to never give up. But we were talking about branding and ideas, and I was talking about, oh, you really need to use AI because you don't want to get, one day I'll get used to the camera. Don't get left behind. She's like, why isn't that what's on your screen? And I took that, I ran with it. I made a whole background that's all with abacuses and rotary phones and encyclopedias, a dusty old library. My head is covering the Dewey Decimal System. So it was with Leah's help and breaking some barriers in my mind about what I could do that I moved on to a different step. So I'm like, Leah, will you please come and talk to my audience and help them break through like you helped me break through? And she said yes. And here she is. Thank you, Leah.
You're so welcome, Heather. Oh my gosh. I think it's so great that that it worked for you. I think that's one of those moments that people have to remember, like insight and inspiration comes from lots of different places, but you did the thing too. So I don't want to take all the credit. While I gave the guidance and the inspiration, you had to take the action. I'm glad that worked out for you. I know that sometimes people get inspiration and insights and don't follow through. And that's kind of one of those things that I was excited to share. I know that you have a lot of people that are doing work with AI, that are entrepreneurs, business owners, and it can feel overwhelming sometimes to do all the things, right? Like to create an entire business and to create it in an environment where we don't want to get left behind, where we don't want to feel like the newest, latest thing is just one more thing on our plate. And I think a key factor in how to not only manage, but leverage those changes that are kind of inevitable, if we're being honest, is to know first and foremost who you are, what you're about, and why you're doing what you're doing in the first place. Not just as everyone else is doing it, or to copy everyone else, or to be a carbon copy of even what you might think a successful person in your field or industry is, but to really find out why what you do matters to you. So for me, that's kind of the big impetus for everything I do. It's like how to figure out what your purpose is as a human being, and then look at how you create in your life and work with that. And then to use that intuition that I've been fortunate enough to be tapped into since I was a young child to help guide myself, my clients, into better alignment with their messaging, the work they're doing, and things like that too.
Wow. So when did you first realize that your intuition was stronger than the average person's?
I make the joke that I was born with my third eye wide open and it never shut. So there's that. I think that early on, at a very young age, I was fortunate, right, to understand that something bigger was happening in my life. When I was a very young child, I was the only one kind of in my family. I'm adopted, by the way. I was the only one in my family kind of like me, first of all. Literally grew up with an all white family, long blonde hair, blue eyes, and me. So here I was. And I was always kind of different. And I think that's another thing about entrepreneurs, right? We kind of lean towards the people who are different. There's something different about us. We all kind of have that in common. So when I was very young, I noticed and knew things about people that I thought were normal. Like as a child, I'm like, doesn't everybody know what everybody else is thinking or what's happening in the room that nobody's talking about? So I would just speak that, much to the chagrin of my family, not always helpful, not always useful from their perspective. So a very long time, I was kind of shut down. It was not really, it was basically frowned upon until I was old enough recognize that the moment I saw what we call, what I call a full out a body apparition in my room, and I'll tell you, I think it was like between 14 and 16 years old when it happened, and when it happened, what struck me, aside from the fact that I recognized what was happening, was oh my gosh, everything I ever said to my family and all these things actually happened. Like it was actually true. So I was old enough to know enough to see that what was happening to me was different and that it was given to me as a gift. And so I started helping my friends, you know, like any good teenager. I used every resource in my Rolodex to get through things in life. And then started having my friends literally come to me and ask me questions, very much like you were saying yourself, like, oh, yeah, I'm thinking this thing, and I would just know the answer. So after a while, that became kind of, I guess, in some ways, my parlor trick as I went through high school, except that it also gave me my first path into the work that I do, which is in supporting and healing and helping people. So I went off to become a psychologist of all things because, you know, that was the respectable way, you know, that was the respectable way to do this. Only to find while I was in the middle of my first class, in my first psychology class, that the Oracle, who's the entity that I get my intuition and my guidance from, said, "Get out of this class now. This is not the way. This is not the way for you." And so I wandered through the desert like good old Moses himself and found my way back to really the heart of the matter, which is my intuition, which is, I think, all of our intuitions. I love that you said that. How did I know? I knew because it was different, but I also realized as I got older that everyone has it, right? So for me, it was just more practiced. It was more right there at the surface. And I really do believe that everyone has their own intuitive guides, nudges. You know, for some people, they're just not practiced. They haven't really tapped into it, but it's available to everyone.
So, how do you help entrepreneurs with your gift?
So the way that I ended up working with my clients from an intuitive perspective is that I utilize all of the skills I learned from my side gig. Now I'm calling it my side gig. Then it was my main gig, which was working in corporate sales, marketing, and operations to build businesses. Because what I realized I was doing during that whole time was using my own intuitive gift to know what rooms to be in, what to say to certain people, how to get results from a group of people around a conference table, because I could understand the motives that were going around. And I could literally hear what people were channeling through their desires and their fears and frustrations. So I recognized that both of those things could be valuable. And I began to work with my clients, and they would start to come to me and ask me questions about decisions they were making around their businesses or brand new ideas about what they wanted to do with their businesses. One of my favorite stories is my client who currently is running, it's called the Women's Coaching Alliance, and coaching as in sports coaching. But when she and I first met, my intuition told me as she was sitting there having conversation with me over lunch that one of the three things she wanted to do next as a corporate executive. She knew she wanted to make a change. She didn't know what. And as we were having a conversation, like literally the second thing she said lit up in front of me. It was like a big light beam was like, boom, this is it. And so I'm just eating my sandwich or my salad, fork in the middle of my face. And I said, oh, it's that second one. She was like, what? I said, oh yeah, you need to do the second one. That was it. And what's beautiful about that is that started her on a journey away from the corporate world. She has created 2 companies since then, really successful now. And for her, that is exactly how we managed our work together, which was we combined both. We combined the practical steps, we combined all the tools and resources we could gather. And through that lens of intuitively looking at what her purpose is, what she was trying to create with herself and her world, we were able to create a path forward that gave her the opportunity to do what she was inherently meant to do here, which is to help women in particular become leaders in their fields and make a bigger difference in the world, helping other young girls become strong leaders. And that's what she's done. So it's been really amazing. So that's one of the ways. And oftentimes with my clients, it is a combination of both of those things. And most importantly, ultimately, sharing with them how to better understand their own intuitive guidance and become more fluent, right? To speak that language and to listen to those messages for themselves.
Wow. And you've created a few courses around this so you can share it to multiple people at a time and just not one-on-one clients, and reaching you through other venues besides just across the table at lunch, even though that's always my preferred method. Let's go and get coffee.
Yeah, let's chat. Absolutely. I think it's been now, gosh, well, 30 years ago really is when I started understanding kind of the concept of how to create goals. And I was given that through my own journey with kind of my life falling apart. I ended up having 53 cents in my pocket. I walked away from my first marriage, literally on the streets. And the Oracle, once again, kind of gave me this grand message, which was, this is not how your life is meant to be. Like, pull yourself together, really. And I was like, okay, what do I do? And I was distraught. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. And coming back from a really dark place where literally I sat in a chair and cried for 48 hours. I didn't know. I thought I had like completely failed at everything that I ever thought I was going to be, the wife, the family, all the job, all the things that were supposed to be perfect. And slowly, as I was getting up on my feet, the steps that I was given to do that kind of became the basis for not only the very first program I ran for a small group of women, but also became the basis for the book that I created years later, called The Power Plan. And it really is like, here are the steps, here are the things you can do. Anyone can do them. But they were intuitively guided to me to say, here's how you can get back on your feet. And step by step, I did. I was able to take myself from that really deep place and build back something phenomenally better for all aspects of my life. And it really came down to understanding and listening to that guidance and then taking the first step. So in doing that, not only had I created a program that I could share with other people, and I would go to like women's retreats, and I would speak in groups, and I would share the tools and resources that I had discovered for myself and others. But then I realized, as you just said, like, okay, so I'm only one person. How far can I get? How many people can I really make an impact with? And that's when I started, like way back when we all started this great thing called the internet. I started my first course where I'm like, okay, well, if I take this information, I put it out there, how can I get it into more hands? So simultaneously, I had created the program online, and then I wrote a book called The Power Plan based on that. So I hold those available to everyone, which really helped. I was able to actually get it into 76 countries, had over thousands of people now take the course and learn how to really manifest that dream life and how to step away from that old version and sometimes those broken thought patterns and beliefs we've had for ourselves, and really get ourselves back together to that aligned place where we can create great and amazing things with ourselves and our lives. So it's been really amazing work. I know that a big piece of that, and fundamentally, it is about understanding who we are, what we're here to do, and how we can understand what it is about that we want to take forward. So for me, it's been really simple. It's kind of literally, as it says, Oracle on purpose. I have this intuitive gift. It helps me figure out what people's purpose is. Bingo, Oracle on purpose. It was pretty simple. But in doing that and in doing that work, I was able to help other people understand, like, if you have things that are on your heart that have always, I like to say, if they've always nudged you, quote unquote, bothered you, really spoken to you, there's a pretty good chance that it's tied to who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to deliver in the world. And so I created a system, a really easy to follow but simple guidance system for people to take themselves through a course that helps them to understand, like, what their unique life purpose is, and then how can they take that and add it into their work and their lives in a way that really helps create a structure for growth and potential and possibility and prosperity. Because the last thing I realized after having had that downturn was having the capacity financially to make moves when you're ready really makes a difference. And understanding that for myself, especially as an intuitive, and I know there are others out there that are entrepreneurs, that we can sometimes think service means free. To be of service means you have to give it away. And I started to understand that environment when I was out there talking and speaking as an intuitive, that there were a lot of young and sometimes not so young uh, other healers and guides who were giving themselves over to that falsehood, and therefore weren't out there, weren't helping people the way they could be. So it's really important to me that we understand that it is about prosperity. It is about abundance and prosperity, and to make money serving people is a good thing. So over the last, probably, I would say, 10 years, that's been kind of my motto. My mission is to help people not only find out who they are, but to be on purpose and prosper, so that they can continue to do more of the work that they're meant to do in the world. So that kind of those professional aspirations and their personal goals, they matter. They're meant to be there, and we're meant to fulfill them. So how we can do that is by looking at those nudges we get that show us the way. And like I said, when it starts, if we're not paying attention to them, we'll miss those exits and off ramps that we're supposed to take that will take us exactly where we're meant to be. So we have to learn, we have to practice, we have to actively engage in the process, like you did when you said, "Oh, that's a great idea, and let me take it and run with it." So often people will think, "Well, yeah, I like to call them the yeah buts." I don't know if you've ever had them, but some people do. It's a great cure for that. But the yeah buts, right? That's one of the biggest challenges I think some of my clients have hit over the years, is they want to grow and they want to expand, whether that's from 6 figures to 7 figures, whether that's leading as a solo entrepreneur to bringing in teams. It's that moment when we get inspired, and then, like I say, like that little gremlin thought comes around. Yeah, but can you really do it? Is it really possible? What do you know about this? Those kinds of thoughts really do undermine our potential, especially when we're not as practiced at believing in and accessing our own intuitive gifts, right? Our own internal knowing of what we're here to do. So to me, that's the foundation. That is the baseline for everything I do with my clients. And then we grow from there. And I've had clients have, what kind of wholeheartedly is phenomenal success in their lives and businesses because they've chosen that option. They've chosen to look at what they're doing from a perspective of, does it allow me to fulfill my purpose? Does this give me the chance to grow and build on the thing that's most on my heart? So aligning with those personal and professional goals from a holistic approach really does help them to say yes to the right things, but also no to things that aren't the right options for them. Yeah, so it's kind of, I think one of the things that I like to tell people, and this might help those that are listening, is if you are someone who's in a situation where you get to make a choice about either a business, let's say a business arrangement or a relationship, before you dive in, kind of like that knee jerk reaction, ask yourself internally, like just check in. Is this going to allow me to do more good in the world that I want to do or not? It's a simple question, because really you were designed to do the best you can do with what you have to offer. So you'll know, there'll be that internal nudge, if you will, of a yes or a no. And then the next step is really take the action, say yes or say no and follow those nudges. Even if you don't have someone like me in your corner who can help you and guide you through the process, anyone can do that. Anyone can. And we're really ideally meant to do it from that perspective, before we answer these kind of sometimes life-changing, opportunities that happen because we just jumped. We weren't from a fearful place, rather than from a knowing place. So that clarity, I think, comes from practice, and it also comes from trusting that we'll make the best choices when we are aligned with who we are as people.
So that, resonated in so many different places in my life. So there's a couple of things. If you look in the pin post, you can join Leah's group if you need more of Leah in your life. She's also offered to have some one-on-one calls with you as she's launching a newer program to see if you'd be a fit for that, with her. And we also have another question from the audience that
Excellent.
Colleen has been monitoring. Everyone wants to know where to get the book. You just the book
Well, yeah, thanks. Great question. It is available at any bookseller, but of course, the good old Amazon has it. It's called The Power Plan, by Lia Dunlap. And it will actually take you through the steps that I've taken clients through for the last 30 years this year. We're actually in the live group right now. As Heather just mentioned, the great thing about this product this year, or this program this year, is we're in our final set cohort. And we are about to launch the opportunity for people to just jump in and join us month to month and participate along. And they will be able to have live guidance from me each week to go through this process so that you can actually tailor your life and your business to that aligned place. So at the bare minimum, if you hop on Amazon, you can grab the book. If you do, I would love to know that you did, because I think it's amazing to hear what people take away from the book. So if you do, definitely let us know if you've got the book. Just say book. And I'm known to be somewhat a generous person. I love to give gifts. So if you do buy the book, say book below, and I'll give you a special bonus. I'll shoot you out something private in a DM to give you a little extra boost as you go through reading the book and hopefully taking advantage of the steps that are in there. I'll give you a special download that you can use to go through that process.
Oh, wow. That is super generous. I feel like there's going to be a special gift in my DMs because I'm definitely going to be downloading the book. Colleen said in the green room chat, she's helping us behind the scenes today, that she's also going to get the book. And it's funny. I don't know if she can jump in or not. I told her it was in the middle. It was weird. But I just have such a relatable story for everything you've talked about today. Colleen and I have known each other for about 2 years now, and we've been through a couple of different iterations of growing groups with AI. And the first person she's going to be here. She's going to jump in.
Yay!
The first person that we worked with, I saw it coming that train was coming down the path, and I started a new Facebook group just dedicated to AI. And then we jumped in with somebody else who they're definitely not as positive as you. I don't want to talk negatively about anyone, but what Colleen said to me over and over again, and when she jumps on camera, I'm sure she'll speak to it. She's like, Heather, what is wrong with you? You have all of these talents, all of this stuff. Why are you tying yourself to someone who's not letting you be your authentic you and share everything? And yeah, there's a scarcity. There is a scarcity
Yes. Sorry, I just got home from work.
You're hanging on to, and you're not allowing yourself to jump into what's going to be best for you, because you're helping other people build their dreams instead of building your own dream. So it was just, I mean, Colleen herself, I think, probably has maybe a little bit of the same gift that you have, Leah, or at least pointing it out in my life.
Yeah,
Well,
I would love to hear about that point.
Oh, that looks really good today, huh, guys? Look, anyway. So Heather, definitely, sorry, it doesn't even matter. Yes, Heather has an amazing talent and I love her so much. And she has, like, since we met, she has no idea, like, how much she's helped me. And if anybody can help me, like, they have to be amazing, because I'm a total Gen X computer. Like, I mean, I didn't even take my first computer class till my senior year in high school. So it was definitely not my thing. And she's brought me a long way, and I'm far from perfect, but and so I'm like, why are you let's just take your talent and go, because you have so much. Like, quit giving it away to other people. I'm busy. So yeah, sorry. So yeah, I was just like, it didn't make any sense to me, because she was being taken advantage of, and she didn't like to admit it. But I was like, no, don't let these people do this. You can do this for yourself, and it would be so much better. And you're so, like, she's just great. And she would just give and give and give and give and give and give and give. And I finally, and I just kept saying, someday she's gonna do it. So I just kept pushing and pushing. But I said, just drag me with you, please. But yeah. You're amazing, by the way, Leah. Thank you so much for coming on. And I mean, I was late and I apologize. But I mean, just listening to all the things that you had to say, definitely need that positive. I've been trying really hard. And I think I said this to Heather last night. I'm trying to keep a positive attitude, and it really does make a big difference. My daughter just got married, so it's been, happy but stressful. But I've been trying to keep, a positive attitude for her, for sure. And just because it really does make a difference, especially when you're around other people, you attract what you put out. And I totally get it. So I'm so excited to hear, and I can't wait to, like, listen to you talk some more. A couple of years ago, I probably would have been like, positive, schmositive, whatever. But I totally am feeling it now. So it's exciting.
I think that's a great point to make right there too, that it is happening. Like, for me, it's like, I've been in this for so long, I have to giggle. Like, oh, look at all of you. Yay, come on over. We've been talking about this for 30 years. And I think there is an evolution which is happening. A pendulum is always going to create that kind of wax and wane in our lives. And I think the pendulum has shifted back, where it's made people focus, like you said, all of the negativity isn't helping, right? At some point, people realize they have to, it's logical that they'll realize it's not working. So if it's not, what could work? What could help? And I think to your point too, I love what you're saying about Heather. It's like so many people who have so much to offer and give. The biggest challenge isn't that they're not good enough. It's often, so very often, especially the clients that I work with, so very often they don't even realize how phenomenal they are. And as the external sources around them, we get to reflect, if we're in the right circles, we get to reflect back to them. This great story about a group of mine. We work a smaller group of mine that we work with, entrepreneurs of different, women founders of different levels. And in one of the calls, a woman that I won't name out of place, but she said, I think I'm going to do this consult thing and I'm going to charge like 505. And she went to say 100. And we all thought she was going to say 1,000. And so literally the whole group exploded in laughter. And we're like, no. Like, we're so glad you're bringing it here in our group where it's safe. And we can all tell you, heck no, that's not okay. Right? Because you do have to have sometimes people reflect back to you your genius and the power of your genius. Because so often, and I'm just going to say this because I work primarily with women, but so often, especially for women, we have spent so many of our years just trying to get seen as close to, if not equal to others, that we have a knee-jerk reaction to seeing our true value, right? We are always undercutting ourselves in the past. And I say that very intentionally because now, thank goodness, more people like myself and others have said enough. And to be in the right circle of people, which is why I created my new Limitless Life Club organization, is because I want people to step into a place where that's the norm. The norm is celebration. The norm is valuation. The norm is understanding that you are absolutely 100% worthy. There is a 1 in 400 quadrillion with a Q chance that you exist. That is not an accident. It's scientifically not an accident that you exist. And therefore, you are here on purpose. So let's figure out what it is so that you can get out there and do it. And part of that is then honoring that, those gifts, those talents, even the things that have been like the secret dreams. I'm so impressed. I love it, love it, love it. When I work with a client who shows up as one thing, and I'm like, my intuitive guys are like screaming at me. No, I can't even listen to this anymore because that's not even true. Like what you are is not this thing that you're pretending to be. And the reason you're so unhappy and so dissatisfied and so frustrated or overwhelmed or exhausted is because you are literally holding inside the true beauty and magnitude of who you are. It's efforting to hold back our wholeness. And so I remember one particular client who came in. Oh my gosh, so funny. This is years ago, but it's a great example of that. She sat down in my office. She was just looked beaten. She was exhausted. She was clearly fed up. And when she came to sit with me, she's like, I don't know what to do. And she said, now she came in, she's wearing this incredible, wild looking outfit. Just so cool and chic looking, and sat down and then said to me, so I'm a bookkeeper. And I'm like, sorry, what now? What? No, sorry. Cannot hear you anymore. Do not understand what you're saying. This does not make any sense. What do you mean? I said, because you're not. So whatever this is, maybe the first place we start, right? So what I asked her was a different question, which I said, well, okay, so that's what you're doing, right? That's what you're doing. What do you love most when you're not doing that? So she went on this tangent and explained to me that she was doing all of these arts and crafts, and she was volunteering everywhere she could at her kids' theatrical school to build sets. And like, I mean, and she would show me pictures. And here's the thing I love when we're in a group is everybody, if they were sitting watching her, would have been like, hello. Like, it's like, what are you doing now? So I think that that's part of it. We need those reflectors. We need to be in rooms where people are bold enough to stand for you until you can stand for yourself. And that's kind of where she took off from there. She's incredible. Shout out to her. She has a new company. It's called Astro Artistry. Oh, it's not up there anymore. It's somewhere else. But she makes these incredible art collages of your astrology chart that are just mind blowing. And through the process of our first time working with her, she went from bookkeeper to artist to astro artistry, and we took all of these layers and uncovered really what was at the heart of who she was and what she wanted to do in the world, how she wanted to express herself. And in that expression, she helped so many other people who got to have her art pieces get better understanding of who they were. It's like that kind of ripple effect doesn't happen when we are sitting on our own value and worth. When we are pretending that it's okay or it's enough just to get by. And that's why I wanted to create the Limitless Life Club, because I'm like, this is about letting all of those barriers, all of those ideas go. And instead, going full bore for what we really are intended to do, because that's what the world needs from each of us right now. I'd say if everybody were as happy as they could be in themselves, we don't need to go solve the world's problems. We already have solved them. I know that's a bold statement, but I wholeheartedly believe it's true. Sorry. I'll hop down off my soapbox, but you just hit a nerve for me because I think it's so important.
Yeah, Colleen and I did the same thing. We put ourselves on mute. But I've done some work on myself through a different company, but it's like, I'm not going to say anything about that company. It showed me so much, but it's not what it is a fraction of what you're describing. So I am so excited about this new launch of yours. And even to get into a cohort, even for a little while. And that's what people don't understand. Get in for a little bit, do it for a couple of months, see if it's right for you. And then if your world totally changes, then stay. If it's not right for you, in a lot of these cohorts, I know they've got like a 3 or 4 month, you need to stay with them, but that's for your own good. If you come for a month and you give up on yourself, guess what? You don't have any follow through. You haven't given anything a chance. I mean, we all know Colleen and dental health. If you only brush your teeth for a month and then stop, yeah, you're going to get cavities. Absolutely. Right, Colleen?
Oh, yeah. And your gums are going to bleed. And yeah. In the words of my daughter, your gums are going to look inflated. That's what she used to call it.
I love it. Inflated. Oh my gosh, it's so true. It's so true. It's consistent action. You have to continue to take consistent action. And you're right. I mean, that's part of the reason this is unlike anything I've done before, because I did switch to a model with this program. In the past, my clients have worked with me for a minimum of a year. I am so wholeheartedly passionate about getting as many people access to these tools, like we're talking about. Like the book itself is like, someone can take the book and they can have the same results that my clients are getting. What's the difference? Having direct insight along the way, right? Week by week, for one thing. And then also it is that piece of having a tribe or a community of others who are reflecting, and as Colleen was saying, in this positive mindset, because it can take a moment, like you said, even with dental hygiene, it takes sometimes, if you go in there and you haven't done this for a while, you're going to go through a process until your teeth are healed or better or what have you. So it does take time. You have to commit to that. It's taking the action toward the life you envision. It means
we can't do it all in one visit.
Yeah, right. Oh my gosh, I love that story. I love that question.
Just get it all done right now.
Right? You can't. It's not done now. It's not complete. I already came. I came once. Yeah. I've been there with clients too that have come into the program, and then like you said, Heather, they leave within the month. And I tell everybody straight up front, I said, this, if you give me 4 months to work with you, I promise you the 4 month from now, you is going to kiss your face, because it's going to look back at you and say, thank you. We need to have a germination period for change. There is a germination for everything. And so we don't always know. Like, I have also had clients who say yes to joining, and before they even start their first call, they've already had a big shift. And I'll tell you why that happens. People are like, why did that happen? Simple. Everything in their whole system was waiting for them to say yes. And as soon as they committed to make the changes, it was like, boom, here you go. Because the universe wants you to succeed. It's back to that number, 1 in 400 quadrillion opportunities or chances of you being born. All of those things worked in your favor just to have you exist. Of course, the universe is also going to be there for you to fulfill that purpose for existing. So it is logical that if you really are, and this, I think it happens most often when someone is so far off their path, their alignment, whatever you want to call it, and they finally get to the tipping point, and it feels like miraculous to them. But literally, it's because everything was waiting to be birthed through them at that moment, just waiting for them to say, okay, now I'm ready. And as soon as that happens, all of that stuff that's been holding you back, supposedly, is let go. Then everything you are gets to come through and shine. And so it feels miraculous. And I always say, I love that magical moment, except it's not really magic. It literally is how we are created. And it is the best we can have is to see that and move towards that and stay connected to people that are going to help support us and see us that way. Because I was just talking to Heather before we started, like this whole idea of AI, I love this, because what it allows us to do is to get out of the muck, right? The idea of being stuck in minutia, especially as business owners and entrepreneurs, where we think we're being busy and we're doing something, we're taking action. And if we get all of that taken care of for us, then we can actually take the true form of action we're meant to take, which is the risks and the boldness, what we like to call in our circle, the leaps of faith that say, yeah, as you said, Colleen with Heather, like, go out on your own. That's a huge leap of faith, right? But again, it's always going to be rewarded because that's what the universe wants for you.
And it's exactly
I have
like
more faith in Heather than I do a lot of people.
We're all in.
You know, the funny thing is go ahead.
We're using automation. So many people I know in the insurance industry and any kind of sales, they're like, oh, I got to make my 100 phone calls a day. But what we're doing is using automation to go out there and ping more than 100 people a day. And we're only spending time with the people who are talking back to us. And guess what? That automation is going on while we're using AI to craft our emails, to set up our systems that are helping us move the needle forward. So that way we're not stuck in the minutia. So it's a step that I've made, that I and Colleen have made by investing, that Lia's made by investing. So she can spend time with you, the person who needs to get unstuck, rather than figuring out what her next email newsletter is going to be about.
Oh, 1,000%. What were you going to say, Colleen? I saw you pop up there. It was like, I want to hear what Colleen was saying.
Exactly. Oh, no, I was just going to say, you know, here's the thing that some people don't understand. And I think that part of the problem, am I breaking up?
You're good.
Part of the problem is when people have people in their life, they don't understand, like, they don't see them for who they are or what they really have to bring to the table. They might not have exactly what you have. They might not be good at this or that, but they're good at something. And you just really have to see what that is, because it might be really valuable to you. Like, I am not, by any stretch of the imagination, should I be working side by side with Heather when it comes to any of this stuff. Like, I would never even claim that I have any right anywhere near it. But she has taught me a lot. And I just feel like her and I have a good friendship. And whatever it is that I bring to the table, she appreciates it. And I'm still hoping that I can keep doing it. I mean, you know, I'm a social butterfly. I'm a people person. I like to hold hands and coddle, and I'm the caretaker. I'm that person. So if that's what I bring to the table, then okay. That's what I enjoy doing. So
Yeah,
and
I
I
think
think
it's amazing.
right?
Yeah, and that's it. Like I have this uh a form that I have my clients fill out. Like it's one of the first forms we work through. And really it's designed just for that, to understand what your authentic role is. So many people get told like you're good at this or you should do this because whatever, X fill in the blank. And
Right.
oftentimes they get off their own path because they're just trying to do what everybody thinks they're good at or what they should do. For myself, it was,
Mhm.
hey, you're really organized. You're really good at talking to people. You know, so then I would literally get like plucked from corporate role to corporate role because people wanted me in the room. What they didn't understand at the time was the reason they wanted me in the room was because of my intuitive gift, because I could speak to them. I understood
Mhm.
them. So they just wanted me in their spheres. They're like, hey, get Lee on our team now. And I was like, okay,
Mhm.
because none of that mattered to me. But I did like, and I understood like how to communicate with people and how to bring them out and get the best from them. In a corporate world, that really works because people are like, hey, let's be more productive. So I'm like, oh, well, then you should take that person out of that spot and go put them over here because they're better at that. And then they'll be happy. And guess what? You know, they'll do a better job. Shocking. And that I think is something
Amazing.
that, to your point, that we can undervalue what other people, in fact, I just did a video about this the other day, like this idea of these soft skills, as you were saying, like being able to communicate and to hear people and to be empathetic with others is a hugely valuable skill, no matter what role you're in, no matter what kind of business you're in. And it can really help to create better relationships. It allows us to actually serve people better when we can understand like what their needs and desires are. So it's not that the technical skills are better than, right? It's that they're different. And a person who is solid in understanding what their skills are and why they matter to them is twice, if not 10 times better at delivering what they're meant to be delivering.
Yep.
And I wanted to say something about the AI piece, Heather, too, that I think is important. Because you're right, it's not just about like AI, which I think sometimes people think like it's taking over or whatever, cheating and all these things. In fact, I had a client recently that was stuck and had been wanting to write a book for a long time. And then she sat and we talked about it and we had this long session. And I had happened to record the session. And I said, here's what I'd like you to allow me to do. I would like to take what you've just told me. I said, your book is already written. You are already speaking your book right now to me. I said, if with your permission, and I got her permission, and I threw it into Chat GPT and I gave it some specific font or prompts, excuse me, and had it lay out something for her. And in a matter of minutes, I was able to create not only several book titles she could use, all the chapters, a book promo, like everything was written for her book, basically, right there. And so when I gave it to her, she said, I feel like I'm cheating. I said, why? These are all I gave it was your words. I only gave it the transcript from our conversation. And we read through it. She's like, oh my God. I said, all it did was took what you had all around here and just laid it out for you. So now you have something to work on and you can go through and fill out those chapters. But here's the thing, it most importantly to me, from my perspective, it gave her no more excuses for not getting it done.
True.
Right? It's like, I don't even care if you use it. It's there as a way for you to see it. Like, there is a book in that, what you just said. Here it is. This is what it might look like. Right?
I
And
say
now
it all the time.
Yeah, she's so excited
Everybody,
now.
I can write a book. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think
now
that's
she's super
awesome.
excited. We went afterwards. We had a full VIP a half day actually together virtually, and we walked through that whole book. So now she can just go write it. It's done. And then we talked about the plan of like how to promote it and all those things. That's still her doing the creation piece. It's just taking the level of excess energy and also the places where I think as individuals, we can hold ourselves back, right? It kind of goes back to what we were saying before, Heather, like the yeah buts, right? It
Yep.
gets rid of the yeah buts. Like, yeah, but I don't know where to start. Great, here you go, done, go.
I'm a yeah butter for sure.
And I can take that a step further. So let's say her next excuse is, well, I wrote it out and I don't know how it sounds and I can't afford an editor or a copywriter. Guess what? You have one on your computer. You just say, ChatGPT, please act like a Random House editor with 30 years of experience in editing copywriting for X type of book. Keep my voice, but please help me rewrite for readability at the 8th grade level, because that's probably the most understandable when you're working with ChatGPT, and have it do the edits. And then she can look at it again, and at least she's not, there's no more run-on sentences, there's no more grammar mistakes, no more spelling mistakes. It's formatted, and then she can go in there for the final touches, and it's not, she hasn't had to farm it out, spend money that she may or may not have. And then she does that, and the next time maybe she does want to farm it out to somebody. But if you're working, and that's why I love, even though it's not profitable for me, I love working with bootstrap people, because I can show them how to maximize their time and their effort with a tool like the public library that so many people are like, oh, the library. Well, guess what? You don't have to have not Spotify, the Audible subscription. You could go and get all of these audio books, guess what, from your public library, and have an app on your phone. And granted, you only have 30 days most of the time to listen to that book, but you should be listening to it in less than 30 days anyway.
Yeah. I didn't even know that. My daughter told me that. I didn't know that you could get a library card and then just go online, and that kid has taught me so much. I'm telling you, she's the one that turned me on to this whole positive thinking thing. And I was like, are you crazy?
I love it. I love it. Yeah, the library thing. I found out from somebody recently too, and I was like, man, this is the point though. This is what I'm saying. It's the concept of AI that people are challenged with. It's like, this is simply a new evolution of our ability to evolve as human beings. And if we see it as something to be fought against, then we're missing the point. Right? To have the freedom, you could walk down any street and talk to 10 people, and I would venture to guess, if not 5, 7 to 8 of those people will say, what would you ultimately love? And they will say something about freedom. More freedom of time, more freedom to do X, more freedom to do Y. That is the joy of what has developed And it is possible with the tools and resources that have come on board in the last 5 years, let alone the last 10 years. So why wouldn't we say yes to that? Why wouldn't we take advantage of that? And that, to me, like I said, as far as where I'm going with my own business and how I'm helping and supporting people, is the joy of it. It's anything. To be fair, if someone shows up to me and the basis for what they're asking is rooted in fear, that's my first warning bell, that we've got to reshape, retool our thinking about the subject at hand. Because if we're not thinking about it from a fearful place, and we're not only just being positive, but we're being proactive and intentional, then we will use every quote unquote tool at our disposal. And to me, that's the beauty of it. It's given us just so many more accessible tools. And to what you were saying, Heather, it levels a playing field for so many people so quickly that is a true level of advancement for us as a humanity.
Thank you for coming on the bus, Lia.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just think people don't realize how much being around these negative people, like, really just, it drags you in and it sucks you in. You don't even realize it. And if you would just take a moment to surround yourself or just get away from it and see how much better you feel. Like, I mean, it's made a huge difference in my life, just getting those people out of my life and not even like worry, because I don't even worry about it. It's just like, you know what? I can't. The more you think about it, the more you think about it. Like, and it's so funny. We were talking about the girl who wrote the book. I swear, I thought you were talking about me. Do you know how many books I've written that are just sitting in my computer somewhere? Oh my God. It's so amazing. I'm so glad you came on. This is like so uplifting, and I'm so happy that I got to jump on here and like talk with you. Thank you, Heather, for finding her. She's amazing.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great to talk to you guys too. I think this is just such a great opportunity for people, and I'm just happy to share a little bit, hopefully from the other perspective, which is like, yeah, let's be aligned with what we're doing with the tool. And when we are, I think that's going to make a big difference.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on. We used the whole hour, which I'm a little shocked. Normally we do about a half an hour, but I didn't want to like say, okay, bye-bye, because it was going so well. So the takeaways: follow Lia on Facebook. If there's any other channels, we're going to put it in the comments where you can follow Lia. Definitely grab her book and then comment book so she can get into the DMs with you and give you a present. And once you join Lia's Facebook group, you're going to learn more about her Limitless Club and how to join it and be a part of it. And I guarantee you're going to see my face in there pretty soon when it launches, because I know that's the kind of help that I need in my life. I started this journey and just reading a book, and that's what I learned. You can't just read a book, you have to take action on that book. And without having that community and doing the action steps and the exercises to bring that book to life, those things aren't gonna come true for you. So follow Lia, join her group.
Follow her.
She's giving us free sessions. Jump on her calendar. And thank you so much for coming. Any last words before we sign off? Colleen, Lia?
I mean, yes, I was just going to say, and I know, and I'm sorry, this is going to sound bad, but I can't help it. It's just going to, because the first time you said Limitless Life Club, I thought you said Fight Club. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. I was like,
oh my God.
I was like, she is not messing around.
That's right. I love it. I love that. I'll take that as a site. We'll make sure that we put that in for the people that accidentally typed the wrong thing. Yes. So I will just leave this with saying thank you so much for having me, of course. Yeah, so come on over to the group, learn more about what we're up to. If you do grab the book, I will make sure we get you an extra form that will make it so much easier to take action, because you're right, Heather, action is key.
And it's on Audible, right? We can listen to it. We don't have to read it.
I don't know. I don't think there's an Audible. There is an ebook version. I'm sorry. I guess
Okay.
well, thank you for the impetus. I guess we'll write that one down. Get it on Audible.
Just me.
All right.
I
And I can show you how to do that with AI too. That's a whole nother conversation.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Forget it. I guess.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, Leah.
Thank you.
Bye. See you guys on Wednesday.
Bye-bye.
Lights are shining everywhere. Feel the rhythm in the air. Hearts are beating, feel the vibe. Get on up, it's time to jive. I'm so excited, can't deny. Feel the magic touch the sky. Hands up high, we're flying free. This is where we want to be.